My name is Matt Schreckenhofer, and today I'm here to talk to you about public transportation in American cities. Every day when I ride the bus to campus, I see other students, construction workers, healthcare providers, and even professors taking the bus. In fact, it's estimated that each workday, 3.4 million people board some form of public transit, and in 2017 alone, 10.1 billion Americans rode public transportation, as reported by the APTA. Personally, I've had to wait on the bus because the one en route being full and it passing me. I've had to stand while riding because of no seats being available. And these inefficiencies seem to stem directly from one thing, and that is the lack of public transportation units in use and service compared to the mass amounts of people that demand and seek its services daily. As a result, or I propose that local and state governments take the necessary steps to subsidize public transportation heavily. Reasons for following this proposal include reduction of congestion on busy roadways, less pollution, and would stimulate the economy. Public transportation subsidization would decrease the inefficiencies for its users while simultaneously impacting the city as a whole. First, we must consider how congestion impacts a city. And that is, when looking at America's infrastructure, we must understand that congestion is a major downfall. Stated by the TTI, 3.7 billion hours of travel delay were created as a result of congestion in 2003, and 47 hours was the average annual traveler delay time compared to only 16 hours in 1982. These findings by the Texas Transportation Institute study on congestion indicated that if more people were willing to ride public transportation instead of drive their personal car, there would be less vehicles on the road, and as a result, there would be decreased congestion. The same study found that public transportation in America saved commuters 1.1 billion hours of travel time, and it was estimated that if those services were not provided to cities, that congestion would have increased by a staggering 27%. With so much congestion in American cities and the obvious benefits that providing subsidization for public transit would provide for a city, it seems only logical to support heavy subsidization. Secondly, we'll consider the environmental benefits that this solution will provide to a city if implemented. We must look at the differences in private vehicle emissions when compared to that of public transportation vehicle emissions, when trying to further understand how public transportation subsidization will benefit a city. As stated in the journal Conserving Energy and Preserving the Environment, public transportation produced 95% carbon monoxide, 90% less volatile organic compounds per passenger mile when compared to that of personal vehicle emissions. Because of the high number of individual cars on the road, emissions seem to be a number one reason for the destruction of our environment when it comes to pollution. If heavy subsidization would be provided and more public transit units would be available, more people could choose to ride the bus rather than drive their own car. And with the shift from private vehicle use to people riding public transit units and creating an ability to reduce emissions, it creates not only a logical reason to support this proposal, but also an ethical. Finally, we'll deliberate the economic benefits provided to a city from this proposal. That is, how the value of residential, commercial, or business real estate is affected by whether public transportation is readily available or not. According to the American Public Transportation Association, communities that do provide public transportation to its residents bring in more shoppers, visitors, businesses, events, and employers than those communities that do not. A safe, connected, and productive environment that accompanies placing transportation near residential areas is a continuing factor of transit oriented development and is becoming more popular. When considering the economic benefits that subsidizing public transportation would provide a city, it's hard to ignore that property values altogether increase when public transportation is available, and when public transportation is not available, property values will be below the average of where when places provide public transportation. It seems only logical to follow trends that produce economic stimulation rather than those that do not, and therefore is my third reasoning for subsidizing public transportation. With, with overwhelming evidence in support of subsidizing public transportation to combat the inefficiencies that come with public transportation, I urge you to make this proposal known to your local and state government officials. These benefits include a reduction of congestion, reduction of personal vehicle emissions, and economic stimulation by the public transportation subsidization.